Hello, teacher. It is so nice to see you again. What are we going to learn today?
Hi, Turbo Girl. We are going to learn more about whole numbers up to 1000. Look at this pair of numbers. Which is the bigger number?
99 and 67. 99 is the bigger number. Am I right?
Yes, you are. What about these two numbers? Do you think you're able to tell me which is the bigger number?
Both of them are in hundreds, and they look almost the same to me. I am not very sure.
Well, since you can't tell which is bigger, let me show you step by step how to tell which number is bigger. Look at the numbers again. How do you read the numbers?
This number is 235, and that one is 121.
Yes, always remember to compare numbers by looking at the digits of the numbers starting from the left. In this case, it is the hundreds place. Look at this chart on place value. Which number has more hundreds?
There are 200 in 235, while there is only 100 in 121. So 235 has more hundreds.
Correct, Turbo Girl. 200 has one more hundred than 100. And so we say that 235 is bigger than 121.
This is interesting.
Yes, it is. Look at 359 and 935. Which is the smaller number?
I have to compare the first digit of both numbers. 3 in 359 stands for 300, and 9 in 935 stands for 900. 300 is less than 900. Does this mean that 359 is a smaller number?
That's right. For numbers up to hundreds, once a number has more hundreds than the other, we can say that the number is the bigger number. So, 359 is smaller than 935, which also means that 935 is bigger than 359.
Okay.
Now, what if you have numbers like 560 and 500? Can you tell which number is bigger?
Looking at the hundreds, hey, both numbers have 500s. What should I do now, teacher?
Since the hundreds are the same, we have to look at the second digit from the left, and that will be the tens.
So in 560, there are 6 tens. But in 500, there isn't any tens. Therefore, I can say that 560 is bigger than 500.
Very good. Since the hundreds are the same, we will look at the tens. The number which has more tens will be the bigger number. When we say 560 is bigger than 500, we can also say that
500 is smaller than 560. This is fun. Hey, there is a new pair of numbers. 341 and 346.
Tell me which is the smaller number, Turbo Girl.
Looking at the hundreds, both of them have the same number of hundreds, 300. Next, the tens, both of them have the same number of tens too, 40.
That's right. That will be the last digit, and it is the ones.
Okay, both numbers start with 300, and they have the same number of tens. Now looking at the ones, 341 has only 1, while 346 has 6. 341 is the smaller number, teacher.
Yes, since 1 is less than 6, 341 is smaller than 346.
So when we say 341 is smaller than 346, it also means that 346 is bigger than 341.
Clever girl. Try the following activity now. Turbo Girl, do you know how to use the words more than and less than to talk about two numbers?
Of course, for example, 20 is more than 18.
How do you know that 20 is more than 18?
Well, 20 is a bigger number than 18 as it has 2 tens, while 18 has only 1 10.
That's right. We can also say that 18 is less than 20 because it is smaller than 20. Now, can you tell me how many more is 20 than 18?
I can count on from 18, so it is 19 and 20. 20 is 2 numbers away from 18, so it is 2 more than 18.
Very good, Turbo Girl. Now, we will take a look at bigger numbers, 210 and 202. Can you use more than and less than to talk about these numbers?
There is a 10 in 210, while there isn't any 10 in 202. 210 is bigger than 202. So 210 is more than 202.
Right. Do you know how many more than 202 is 210?
Easy. All I need to do is count backwards from 210 to 202. Okay, let me show you. 209, 208, 207, 206, 205, 204, 203, and finally 202. I have counted backwards 8 numbers. By counting backwards, I know that 210 is 8 more than 202.
We can also say that 202 is 8 less than 210. Do you think you can show me why I said so?
I know because if I count from 202 onwards to 210, I will see that 202 is 8 less than 210.
Well done, Turbo Girl. Take a look at these pair of numbers, 305 and 405. Can you use less than to talk about the numbers?
I have to first compare the numbers to see which is smaller. I can make use of the place value charts to do that. I can tell from the place value charts that there is one more hundred in 405 than 305. Thus, 305 is smaller than 405, and so 305 is less than 405.
How much less, Turbo Girl?
305 is 100 less than 405.
Very good, Turbo Girl. Turbo Girl, now that you're able to tell how much more or less a number is than the other, I'm sure you will have no problem telling me what is 1 more than 300.
That is easy. I only need to count on one number from 300. The answer is 301.
Very good. What about 10 more than 300?
Easy. I can count on 10 numbers from 300. 301, 302, 303, 304, 305, 306, 307, 308, 309, and 310. So 310 is 10 more than 300.
Correct, Turbo Girl. You can also count on in tens. So counting on 110 from 300 is 310.
Oh, yes.
Now, what about 100 more than 300?
100 is too much for me to count on one by one, but I know how to count on by hundreds. So counting on 100 from 300 is 400.
Very good, Turbo Girl. You catch on fast.
Thank you.
Do you know the answer to this question?
I have to think about it for a while. When I cover 10, I can tell that the number which I have to find should be smaller than 520. Therefore, I count back 10 from 520 and I get 510.
Excellent work, Turbo Girl. Now, I'm sure you will have no problem telling me which number is 1 less than 804.
Well, I have to count back one number from 804 to find the answer. So the answer is 803.
That's right. Next, can you tell me the number that is 10 less than 804?
I am going to count back by tens. Counting back 110 from 804, I get 794.
Very good, Turbo Girl. What about 100 less than 804?
I have to count back 100 from 804, which is 704.
Try this question.
Well, by covering 100, I can tell that the number which I have to find should be less than 888. So I count back 100 from 888 and I get 788.
Fantastic! You have passed the test because you've answered all the questions correctly.
Yippee!
Turbo Girl, you're now able to identify bigger and smaller numbers between a pair of numbers within hundreds.
Yes, I have learned that I need to compare the digits of the numbers one by one. I have to always start by looking at the first digit from the left.
Good memory, Turbo Girl. What about finding out how much more or less?
By comparing and finding the bigger or smaller number, I can find out the number which is more than or less than the other. I can either use counting onwards or counting backwards, as well as a place value chart to help me find out how much more or less.
And to give a number that is 110 or 100 more or less than the given number?
First of all, to get a number that is more, I can count on. To get a number that is less, I can count back.
Okay, to get a number that is 1 more or less, we only need to count onwards or count backwards by ones.
Oh yes, to get a number that is 10 more or less, I would need to count onwards or backwards by tens.
And to get a number that is 100 more or less, we can count onwards or backwards by hundreds.
It is so fun to play with numbers, teacher.
Yes, indeed. Now run along. See you at the next lesson.
Thank you, teacher. Goodbye.